Hi, I'm Thea from Canberra Seed Savers, and I'm going to talk about pricking out seedlings today. So I have an assortment of seedlings, lettuce, brassica, which is a radish, and some alliums, which are garlic chives, and I want to pot them up. I've sown the seed and they've germinated and they're getting big, and I want to pot them up to be able to pass on to friends and the community. So I'm going to put them in slightly bigger pots. So first up, I germinated the seeds in quite short trays, and I have selected pots that are a lot taller to allow for root development. So if you were going to do this process, I wouldn't recommend egg cartons or particularly short punnets. I would try go for something a little bit taller. So first up, I need to check that my seedlings are big enough to be able to pot up, and the lettuce here is a great example to check. What we're looking for is true leaves or adult leaves. So here we have some lettuces that only have their baby leaves, which are these first two leaves. So these are the baby leaves, whereas this lettuce next to it is starting to get one of its true leaves, the adult leaves. So typically, if it only has two leaves, it's not ready yet. And then when it starts to get a third or a fourth or a fifth leaf, which is the case of maybe some of these lettuce types over here. There's an oak leaf lettuce, which has two baby leaves, a big adult leaf, and then a small one coming on. Then they're ready to pot up because they're going to be a bit stronger. Over here in my brassicas, which is a Daikon radish, same thing. The baby leaves are a different shape. They're almost like a club shape. And then the adult leaf coming on is a different shape there. This is an allium, which is in the onion family. This is garlic chives. They don't have adult leaves that are different. They just germinate straight. So you don't need to wait for any different leaves for these. Just wait for them to be a little bit bigger and stronger. Okay, so I've got my pots ready with seed raising mix ready to go, and I want to prick out into them. What I'm going to do is choose a tool, and I've got a couple of different types here. I've got a chopstick, I've got a kebab stick, I've got a paddle pop stick, and I've got a butter knife, and I've got my fingers. All these are perfectly fine to use to prick out seedlings. I typically use a chopstick just because it's what I've got on hand at the time. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to get a lettuce and put it in this tall one here. So before I go and grab my lettuce, I'm just going to put my finger in to make a hole. You could do this with a stick. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure that the hole isn't like cavernously deep that you're going to lose your seedling into it. So I'm going to pop over here to my seedlings, and as you can see, they're quite bunched up. This one's an individual, and what I'm going to do is go under it with the chopstick and have two fingers on the outside and try lift up under it a big clump of soil. And you can see that the soil has come with it and there's some roots below it. Oh no, that's okay, it's okay. So I'm holding it by its leaf. I'm not holding it by its roots or stem, because the roots are quite fragile, and the stem, you only have one chance at it. If you broke the stem, the plant would no longer be viable, because that's one of the most important parts. Whereas a leaf, if you lose a leaf, it's still going to be okay. So I'm going to take this lettuce and transport it over to the hole I made and just lift it in. And what I'm going to do is just sort of gently cave in the sides and then pinch in. I've planted it about as deep as it was over in the germinate tray. If it's a bit floppy, you can add a little bit more soil around the sides to make sure it's got some stability. You don't want it wonky everywhere. So there we go. That lettuce is totally fine. Once it's watered in, it'll get bigger and stronger, and watering in is a really important stage because it'll get rid of any of those air pockets I might have missed. So let's do that process again with a lettuce that might be all clumped together with some other lettuces, like these ones here. Again, this is oak leaf lettuce. You can see there's a big clump of them. So I might switch to the butter knife, because what I'm going to do is try bring out the whole clump of these all at once so I can separate them out, because this could be a bit tricky. I could break a whole bunch in the process. I'm just going to bring them up into my palm, and what I'm going to do is from this stage I'm going to separate out a couple. So there's one, put it over here, keep track of what's what. There's another, and you can see that they come out quite easily. You can hold a good clump of soil with them. And there's a couple, and here's two that are stuck together. It's actually, if I hold the leaves and just gently tease, because the soil, the seed raising mix is quite friable or loose, they just come apart. So I'll just put that one there, and I'm going to lift this one over to my pot, pop it in holding the leaf, cave it in, and gently pat it down. So there's 2 lettuces, and I can rinse and repeat. I'll just quickly show you the same process with a radish and a clump of chives. Again, I'm going to put a hole in my pot of destiny, and then I'm going to come in, scoop under one of these, and try not to break too many roots, because the roots are so important for the development of this little plant. If you do break a couple of roots, take a chance. I'm sure it'll be fine. If you feel that you've broken the plant beyond repair, just give up. Just feed it to the chickens or put it in the compost, because, and what I'm doing here is just teasing out, sorry, a bit of the roots, because if it's broken, there's just no point trying to grow it on. You just might as well go for another one, and that's why we've got so many germinates. Oop, I shouldn't be holding the stem, but that's where it happened. And I'm lifting it in, gently putting it down, just making sure all those roots are in the hole. And you can see it's a bit floppy, so make sure you pinch the soil and heap it up. If that was a bit floppy, I would just add a bit more soil to stabilize it around the base. Okay, so that's radish or any kind of brassica seedling. And again, we'll go for one more type, which is the Alliums. Again, put my little hole. I just like to use my finger. And because this is garlic chives and you generally grow it in a clump, I'm just going to pull the clump out. I'm not going to try get one individual, because usually garlic chives is grown in a clump. So here I've just grabbed a whole clump, and those roots look quite long. So what I'm going to do is just come back here, put a bit of a deeper hole, and I'm going to pop in this clump of chives, just tuck in all those roots, push in a bunch, and there we have it. So like I said, watering in is really important, so I'm going to water these in and just have a look at them. Just double check that there's no holes or cavernous holes. This one's fallen in on itself. I'm just going to help it stabilize so it's up away from the soil. And that's it. I'm going to pop these in my greenhouse or in a warm location that isn't subject to too much heat. And I'm going to take care of these for a few more weeks until they're a bit bigger. If they die, I'm going to just change out for one that's a spare that I've got. And that's how you prick out into bigger pots. I hope that was useful.